What's good? What's good? It's the one and only, but what do I know? Boxing coming back at y'all with another one, man. So we got Canelo Alvarez in the news and is possibly fighting William Scull. For y'all that don't know William Scull is the IBF super middleweight champion. As he received a vacant title, Canelo Alvarez relinquished his title because basically, the IBF don't play no games, and it was like you either fight William Scull or you're getting stripped. And instead, Canelo Alvarez elected to fight Edgar Berlanga and vacated his title and whatnot. So it is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the article. It's pretty lengthy because there's a few articles that I'm gonna get into. One about William Scull possibly fighting Canelo, and another one that possibly debunking that fight. And I'm gonna go ahead and just put my opinion on it towards the end. So you guys stay tuned. I'm gonna do the work for you. Let's get into it. Now, this might be a little bit lengthy, but y'all just bear with me because there's a few articles that I gotta read. And as reference to the whole Canelo Alvarez, William Schofield, Terence, Crawford, all of that. But anyways, shout out to Boxing News 24/7. It says William Scull reveals Canelo Alvarez fight offer for spring. It says Team Canelo Alvarez reportedly approached IBF super middleweight champion William Scull, who has the record of 23-0 with 9 knockouts, for a fight in May on the Mexican Cinco de Mayo weekend. This undisputed matchup would give Canelo, who has the record of 62-2 with 39 knockouts, a chance to recapture his IBF title to make him a 2-time 4-belt, basically undisputed champion at super middleweight. It's a bit of a surprise that Canelo is looking to face Scull, as there have been some rumors that Mexican superstar is planning to fight Terence Crawford next May. Those were fake news, as Canelo is now looking to potentially fight Cuban Scull next, looking to become an undisputed champion at 168 pounds. On October 19th, the 32-year-old Scull, based in Germany, who won the IBF title against Vladimir Shishkin in a 12-round. For y'all that don't know who Vladimir Shishkin is, that's the dude that beat Jose Uskatiki. That's who he beat. No really big names. But he has a win over Jose Uskatiki. That's probably the biggest name on his resume that he's beaten. But he won the IBF title against Vladimir Shishkin in a 12-round unanimous decision. Although his performance wasn't impressive, Scull got the job done, winning the fight despite a questionable decision in Germany. There had been talk of a rematch to clear up the controversy, but that doesn't look like it will happen. Scull confirms for the program Cubanos. I don't want to pronounce that right. I don't need nobody coming on my channel. Oh, you're not saying her name. No, I ain't trying to disrespect nobody. But there has been a real rapprochement between his team and Canelo's team for a possible unifying confrontation next May in Las Vegas. Scull adds that this January 10th will be an official meeting between both teams to finally agree on everything. Furthermore, the IBF super middleweight champion clarifies that Berlanga did exist as a possibility, as did Christian Mobili, who was ruled out for monetary reasons, said Carlos Linares on X. Boxing fans on social media are taking to the news of Canelo versus Scull, which could potentially happen next, pretty hard. Many of them want to see Terence Crawford as Canelo Alvarez's next opponent. However, Crawford doesn't bring much to the table either, because he's not a household name with casual boxing fans in the U.S. Whoever said that is a damn lie. Crawford is not a household name in the U.S. Bro, they just be letting people write anything, bro. Like, golly, I don't agree with that at all. A segment of hardcore boxing fans enjoy Crawford's counterpunching fighting style, but he's never been a pay-per-view attraction. He's only had one fight that brought in good numbers against Errol Spence. You can't. Numbers do back what he. Now that part, Terence Crawford is not a pay-per-view attraction. I will admit that. But saying that he's not a household name, I can't agree with that. Errol, not Crawford, brought the fans. It's reported that Terrence's last fight against Israel Madrimov on their August 3rd class on DAZN pay-per-view brought in 75 to 100,000 pay-per-view buys. Those are terrible numbers, which confirms that Crawford isn't a big attraction. Yeah, Crawford. So again, to say that Crawford's not a household name, that's a bit of a stretch. But I feel like Crawford is one of those guys that he's going to need somebody to sell a pay-per-view with. You know what I'm saying? Like, and obviously it does take two to dance or whatnot. But Crawford is one of those guys that he needs a formidable opponent in order to have a successful pay-per-view event. But anyways, that was that. Now this, it says, you know, shout out to Essential Sports. It says bad news for Canelo Alvarez versus William Scull just hours after unofficial fight announcement. Will the once-in-a-lifetime fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford happen this year? With the onset of the new year, the world of boxing is waiting with bated breath. Talks of a potential fight between the Mexican superstar and the pound-for-pound best boxer have been going around for some time now. But amidst the discussions and the speculations, a new update seems to have been taking everyone by surprise. Reportedly, IBF super middleweight champion William Scull confirmed that Canelo and his team approaching him for the potential Cinco de Mayo fixture in Las Vegas. The news must have raised quite a few eyebrows, just as last year he defeated Jaime Munguia. Alvarez received instructions from the IBF to face the mandatory challenger William Scull. The champion, however, settled for a fight with Edgar Berlanga. In the bargain, he had to part ways with the IBF. Though from an undisputed champion, he became a unified one. It now appears that there is more to the Alvarez-Scull story than meets the eye. Mixed signals from Team Alvarez, leaving it to the readers and followers' discretion. Journalist Jake Donovan shared, "I have a good and bad news on William Scull and Canelo talks." He revealed that the reports suggested Team Canelo reaching out to Scull remain true. Yes, Skull's team have been contacted. Let me see. It says he tweeted that. He said Scull team has been contacted. Scull is several options being explored and not necessarily first or even the second choice. For some reason, the second part of the message might feel like a spoiler, though. Donovan mentioned that Scull is not only considered by Team Canelo, he's just one of several options. Speaking to Alberto Leon, William Scull reportedly shared, "The truth is that there are three offers to Berlanga, to Canelo, and at the time there was talk of Christian Mobility, but I think that was left behind because the offer was not very good. Given his goal to unify the titles and become undisputed champion, Scull also mentioned that discussion between his team and Canelo are set to take place January 10th. Born in Cuba, Scull lives in Berlin, Germany, and maintains an unbeaten record. However, his unanimous decision victory over Russian fighter Vladimir Shishkin to claim the IBF super middleweight title was with controversy. We already know about that, but here we go. All right, this is where it gets a little more into what I was just talking about, the title. It says, never heard about William Scull. In the past conversation, Canelo Alvarez expressed his stance on a mandatory challenge fighter. Instead of their fight, Canelo Alvarez and Edgar Berlanga joined Gilly and Wallace for the, what is that? For, I don't know what they tried to spell. Some check with Canelo if it would have been better if a fighter had to fight people in order instead of picking who they wanted to fight. Alvarez argued that fighters who elevate to the prestige of championship, not the other way around. To support his point, he cited examples of how boxing legends Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather, and Mike Tyson, the legends established themselves as stars and superstars, overcoming the odds. He has reached a level where he can pretty much do what he wants. Right now, I can do whatever I want, and I don't want to. Right now I can do whatever I want, and I don't want to. He's not someone in the IBF. Hey, you need to fight with this. What? Hey, you need to fight with this because Scull. I guess this is. What the fuck? They don't even make. Okay, so I guess Canelo was talking about how people saying that he needs to fight with Scull because Scull at the time was his mandatory challenger, and Canelo didn't really care to fight him or whatnot. And it's so funny how like these fighters like pick and choose what mandatories they want to fight and what. It's like you cared enough to fight Avni Yildirim, but anyways. I'm not gonna do whatever they want. So it says many fans hope to see Alvarez fight Terence Crawford in what would be undoubtedly a historic bout. But it's possible a Canelo Alvarez versus William Scull matchup could feature the Cinco de Mayo weekend. There's also potential for an entirely unexpected opponent to emerge and surprise as a contender. Does the matchup between Canelo and William Scull make sense, or should Canelo prioritize a fight with Terence Crawford instead? Well, let's talk about it a little bit, all right? Now, I'm gonna go ahead and say this right here. Canelo Alvarez versus William Scull. Would I be mad at it? Not really. I'm gonna be honest, and this is why. Canelo Alvarez has pretty much cleared out the super middleweight division. I mean, aside from him, not fighting the one fight that we wanted, and which that fight seems to be all the way off the table now, seeing how Benavidez has moved up to 175. It appears as though there's really no other big names. Now, here's also something that I want to talk to you guys about, something that I want you to understand. What looks good on one fighter's resume may not look good on another fighter's resume, right? And I can understand how that works out. Let me show you and explain. A guy like William Scull would look better on Edgar Berlanga's resume than it would on a Canelo Alvarez resume. And the reason why I say that is because, like, you got Canelo has established himself as, the one of the greatest fighters of, from Mexico for sure. Definitely a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. But so with that being said, we only would like to see Canelo Alvarez in there with guys that are proven. So guys that are not proven, like Edgar Berlanga, a fight with William Scull, who is a good fighter, but kind of unproven, would be good for both of them. Both of those, like Edgar Berlanga will be better on William Scull's resume and vice versa, right? Or even a better example, Edgar Berlanga will look better on Caleb Plant's resume than what it does on Canelo Alvarez's resume. Seeing how Canelo Alvarez, like I said, has established himself, and Caleb Plant is still trying to make a name for himself. I mean, he's made a name in the boxing world, but he's trying to get to where Canelo is, if you get what I'm saying. So, with the reason for me saying that is, I don't think that I don't care for Canelo Alvarez fighting William Scull, but I also understand that, bro, if Canelo Alvarez is staying at 168 pounds, and though William Scull is not a known fighter, he still has a title. So, I mean, I can't be upset with Canelo for fighting it, but it's also like, bro, I don't really care to see that fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Canelo Alvarez has pretty much cleared out his division, and there's nobody in there that I really want to see Canelo fight. Like, I mean, I would have loved to see Canelo against, obviously, Benavidez, or I would have even preferred Canelo to fight David Morrell, but the both of them have moved up to 175, so it's like, Canelo's not campaigning at 175, so I can't really hold that against him as of right now. Only thing I can, if Canelo's continuing to campaign in his division, I guess, this is what he's got to do. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. As far as William Scull, I mean, listen. Or as far as Terence Crawford, I mean, listen. There's no need for that fight. I'll continue to go against it. I don't want to see that fight. I don't think that fight is necessary. I don't think that fight is going. What is, like, honestly speaking, what is that fight? Terence Crawford gets in there and fights Canelo, and then if he gets stopped, which many that really know boxing perceive that would happen. What do you think? What does that do for Canelo? What does that tell you about Canelo? It doesn't tell you anything outside of the fact that dude just beat a guy who really hasn't even made his mark at 154 pounds yet. You know what I'm saying? A great fighter, Hall of Famer for sure, but it's too small. You know what I'm saying? Again, you know that saying, they say you remember that saying, a good big man can beat a great little man, but in this situation, it's a great big man versus a great little man. So it's like, I don't want to see that. And then furthermore, a lot of people don't understand it's a difference between moving up from super welterweight to super middleweight. It's a difference between moving up from 154 to 168 than it is for moving from like 135 to 147, where you're still in a smaller weight class. 154 to 168, you're moving up to the big boys for real, and that's a dangerous move, bro. So I'm still not pushing for that. I don't want to see Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez. Really, if I'm being honest, I would love to see Canelo Alvarez retire, because it's nothing else for him to prove. He proves nothing by fighting these guys. Let these guys fight each other, or do what Floyd did. Take a break from it. Let these guys fight each other, build a name, and then come back and take on the top guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever it is, like, just, but I just don't think that Canelo has anything to prove by fighting these guys. And right now, he's pretty much just giving guys opportunities or whatever. But as long as he continues to fight, I mean, listen, I can't get mad at this. He's fighting another champion or whatever. Might not be a big name, but the dude has a belt. So what, I can't go against that. So that's my thought. And I mean, again, like, it's just like, yeah, it's at this point he's giving out charities. I don't know. I would rather these fighters that are not proven to prove themselves by fighting, other guys, like maybe William Scull fight like a Caleb Plant, or Christian Mobilia's been making some noise. Let him get in the mix or whatever. But anyways, that's just my thought. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. But what do I know?